So, so tayo yung CEO. Technically, what do we think of a CEO? A CEO is a great person. Okay. So, we discussed the 4 pillars of greatness. Number 1, the self. That's your first pillar. Next, the story. That's your second pillar. Your philosophy. That's your third pillar. Philosophy simply means what you believe. So that's your third pillar. And your fourth pillar is your team. So those are the 4 pillars. Okay, so just remember that for you to become great, all of this is good for our development. But greatness will come from 4 things. Yourself is done. This is happening. Your story, you have to figure it out. Your belief is already done. I think this will solve this one. But do not forget your team at all times. So now, first, we will go for pillar number 1 is the self. So the self is the only thing we have direct control over. So that is why it's number 1 because that's where you will start. Diba? So what does this have? What I told Mr. Javed yesterday? This involves self-awareness. Number 2, your self-control. Number 3, self-care. Because you can have awareness, control, everything else, but if you do not take care of yourself, what is the pillar? That pillar will crumble. Number 4, how you conduct yourself, self-conduct. Number 5, self-esteem. Your confidence in yourself, because if you don't believe in you, how will others believe in you? How will your team believe in you? And in turn, how will anybody believe in our company? Like so. And then the last one is your self-story or your concept within you. Who are you? Who do you believe you are? Okay? Because, like, we cannot go by with what others' perception of us is. The strongest pillar is always how strongly do you believe in your capability. Okay? It's, what I keep repeating since yesterday, courage. That's it. Courage, regardless of uncertainty. Next. Mamaya pa, may one by one pa yan. Pillar 2, this is your story. Okay? So, in all of our dealings every day, everything that stands in your way is just a human person. Ma'am Annie cannot do cannot bring in the sales. It's just the decision of one person or maybe a group of persons. But everything that stands in your way is just a human. Okay? And how, for humans, how did we survive? Number 1, like how does ideas still exist right now? It all comes from stories. Why stories are important? Okay? Like why every time I always say the same thing? Because you might be hearing it now, for the 10th time, but someone might be hearing it for the first time. I'm not doing it for you, I'm doing it for that person. Or maybe I told it to you, Miss Van was able to listen to it 10 times, but maybe Subir didn't listen to me from the past times. And for him, it might be just the 3rd time. So I'm not doing it specifically for any person. I'm doing it for you individually. It's like so. So this is saying simply that stories, what we say, stories are the single most powerful weapon any leader can arm themselves with, and they are the currency of humanity. Like what was the currency since yesterday? Stories that they tell you in the form of this book that becomes your reality. And once you pass it on to others, that's your story to that person. That's what I am saying. It's stories and words. Okay? So number 2, the story, what will happen? This simply means that the human or the other person should be able to follow you, buy from you, believe you, trust you, click, act, or hear you, and then ultimately understand you. So it all comes from stories. So that's why we also provide context for the people. The number 3 is the philosophy. And what I am saying, philosophy, belief. In Tagalog, paniniwala mo. Values, who you are as a person. Number 3, principles. What kind of principles do you have within you? So philosophy, it's saying, the book is saying that an individual's personal philosophies are the single biggest predictors of how they'll behave now and in the future. If you believe that you are weak, then you can see, we don't have to wonder what will happen to us in the next, years. It's how I see thinking, philosophy. How can you know the person's thinking? Start asking questions. Stop telling. Start questioning. Even though you will arrive in the same decision.
Yeah.
So if you know someone's philosophies or beliefs, you can accurately forecast how they'll behave in any situation. I'm just saying that before you arrive in that moment, make sure that you did your due diligence at the same time. Okay, so that's philosophy. Next is the team. Again, right people and the right culture will provide us a great company. It cannot be the wrong people. It cannot be the right people but in the wrong culture. Okay? So that will, So the most important success factor in your work is who you choose to work with. If you start working for demotivated, negative people, you will be negative someday. Just a matter of time. But if you choose to work with people who have vision, automatically you become that person. Because you're surrounded by that. Right? Now, the book also has 33 laws. I just chose some. Okay? So, meaning the 33 laws of business and life. So, whatever is here, you can also apply it in your life. So, law number 1 is saying that fill your 5 buckets in the right order. Okay? And once you fill that one, that will become your potential as a person. Okay? So, it starts with number 1, what you know, knowledge. It cannot be that you skip everything. You rely on who you know. But this is not filled. You don't have knowledge. You don't even have ability. You're just relying on who you know. So if I take this away, what is there? Okay? So now, it's simply saying you that you should have five things in yourself. First, fill in your knowledge. From your knowledge, that can predict what is your ability. So you don't skip this one because you can be a really great person or you can have a really great skill. But if you don't have the knowledge, how can this be filled? So fill the knowledge. That will predict your ability. From your knowledge, it will spill here. After that one, because of your ability, then you can learn, you can fill in your network. This is who you know. After that one, once everything is here completed, then you will have what you have as a person. After that one is your reputation. Right? And it's also saying that, so once this is all complete, because again, your reputation is the last thing. After that one, that will predict your human potential. Okay? And it's saying that, book is simply saying that, this too, you take this away, you will still have this too. You take what you have. You may lose what you have, but you will never lose your knowledge. You will never lose your ability. And you can take away your reputation for whatever reason. Somebody will tell us that Getmeds is this, Getmeds is that. But if we have the knowledge and we have the ability, we can always rebuild. Okay? It might be happen with your team. A simple thing. Or you as a person. But these are the two things that will never be taken away from you. So you have to invest there. You have to invest in your knowledge. You have to invest on your skills. And then number 2, to master it, you must create an obligation to teach it. So whatever you are learning right now, for you to really embody it, at least tell somebody else. You know, small things. At least tell somebody that I'm learning this, that, etc. Okay. So it simply means that, because again, once you start saying things or speaking for it, already, you are already doing your investment, that is all your skin in the game. So it simply means that a psychological tool which raises the stakes of your learning by building deeper psychological incentives to perform the behavior. Okay? So now what is your deeper psychological incentive? You start teaching it to others. Because now you will be obligated to follow through with what you're teaching. So once you start telling it to people, now you really have to follow through. That's your skin in the game. Number 3, you must never disagree outright. Okay? So, according to them, so this is the status of our brains. There are 2 things. You have your brain fired up, meaning, it's working. It's open to ideas. And then you have a brain that is relaxed and, like nothing. So, it's saying that when you start your response, even though you want to disagree, again, it's normal. But the moment you say that the first words that will come out from your mouth is, I disagree. Automatically, the person's brain, this is the, like, it's not an actual picture, but automatically, the person's brain is already closed from the next words that you're going to say. So, you always start with a common ground. But sometimes you have to say no. Of course, it's just a matter of, thinking what's, again, you have to use. So this is a brain that is receptive. Number 4, you do not get to choose what you believe. We always have a belief that whatever I believe right now is based from my own understanding. It's not. It's basically your environment. Okay? So the most powerful force in changing belief is first-party evidence, meaning your own evidence within you from your own 5 physical senses. I can tell you anything about you, any good thing about you, but if you have not experienced it within you, you will never believe that. I can tell anybody here that you're absolutely competent, that you can absolutely lose weight. But if you do not experience it by your own, you will never believe me. But that is her own personal belief, and that belief is the one that's limiting her from speaking up. But we did new evidence. Anna, you become host. That's the new evidence. And then, what is the new evidence aside from making her host? The reception of the people. Anna! What are you saying? You're not good. So now, in Anna's head, I'm not a bad speaker. The reception of the people to me was good. I'm not a bad speaker. So now, she will have the confidence in the new evidence she experienced with herself. It's like so. So you can also relate it to the client. Okay. Now, this is one of the most important. Never compromise your self-story. So, or self-concept. Our personal belief of who we are encompassing all our thoughts and feelings about ourselves, physically, personally, or socially. So it includes our belief about our capabilities, our potential, and our competence. As I've mentioned to you, if you believe you are that, you are that. Okay? So you will always be that person. But if you believe greater, you will be great. So it's saying here that resilience is simply positive self-story. That's resilience. As a person, whatever happens to you, if you have your positive self-story, I can be very sorry about myself. I will never be resilient. Okay? I would have given up across all the issues that came in. But I did not, because first and foremost, I do have a positive self-story. Okay? So it's simply saying that 40% of our ability is already the action is just composed of your self-story. The moment that you're positive about your self-story, you are sure about who you are, 60% is all the other factors. But at least 40% is already secured. Because you know who you are and what you're capable of. Okay? It cannot even be like what you're capable of right now. Just your courage to face that challenge. Okay? So it's just a cycle. Whatever you believe right now, your self-story, that will create your thoughts and feelings. It can be a response to any. Whatever what Mr. Javel has already shared earlier. Your thoughts and feelings will predict your actions. After that one, it will become your new reality. So now you have a self-story once again. Okay? So you have to be very sure of your self-story. So I did the exercise of what I believe I am, of who I am. So I put here my self-story, who I am. The most convincing sign that someone will achieve new result in the future is new behavior in the present. Whatever will happen to us now, after this, that will be the future we will have. So we just have to check once again what kind of... Now, related to that one is, never fight a bad habit. That is law number 8. You don't fight it. Okay. So replace reward with a much less addictive reward. And then, anytime you want to do a habit, sleep. Because if you are well rested, only then that you are more receptive to to achieving your habits. And also, but it's saying here that when we have good sleep, technically it's not your willpower, it's just what happens in your body. So when you have good sleep, actually when you lack sleep, the hormone responsible for saying that, hey, you have already eaten enough, that hormone is called leptin. Leptin. So just leptin. So it decreases. That's why when you are out of sleep, automatically, right, you start craving things, sweets, cakes, pastries, coffee, because your body's natural response is that it produces the hormone leptin. So it's just saying that one. Now, it also increases the hormone ghrelin, which is your hunger hormone. So now, we all know now that if you do not have enough sleep, that is what happens with your body. And that will predict your next action. Okay? So now you start with the root cause. Your lack of sleep. That's why right now I'm hungry. So, and then it's saying that do not take on more than one habit at a time. Law 9, always prioritize your first foundation. So it's simply saying that this is the table, that is the table. This is your health. We can put a lot of knowledge on top of the table. We can put a lot of money on the table. We can even put a good career in the table. But if this is broken, all of that will go down. So all of that will be spilled. So everything in our life rests on
our
health. So health is wealth. I understand. Now, law number 10 is that useless absurdity, meaning useless nonsense, will define you more than useful practicalities. So, the most absurd thing about you says everything about you. So, what do you believe is absurd or unique in GetMeds? Number 1, the number of products. Who in their right mind will release 20 plus products in the same year? People will always think that, we can schedule this one. Like the old people we meet, Ma'am Ani, that one is for quarter 1. We will order from you for quarter 1. But we're not like so. So what is the most absurd thing about you? That's your strength. That's how people will remember you. GetMeds, in 1 year they had 50 products released in the market. Oh, that's your strength. And law number 19, so we skip na. So you must sweat the small stuff. This is related to Miss Van. Miss Van's learning. You create a standard, everyone follows the new standard. Now, everyone here will search for ways to improve the standard and immediately implement the improvement. Again, literally everyone is in just one floor. So what is the the barrier. Like so. 1% simply means that no one is saying that daily of your life you have to give 100%. 1% is enough. Then, you must outfill the competition. So, it simply means that decision, there are two types of decision lang daw. Now, when we decide as leaders moving forward, just categorize in your head, what kind of decisions does this have? Type 1, meaning consequential and irreversible. If it's a type 1 decision, you can sweat it out. You can take time. But if it's a type 2 decision, changeable, reversible, quickly. Okay? So, every time you're faced with a decision, type 1, type 2, okay now.
Now I understand, Sir Naresh.
Oo, I think now I understand you actually with this book. So,
Yeah.
I understand. Okay, so law number 22, there is only
Plan
plan
yes,
A.
sorry.
Because the moment you put plan B, you're already halfway. So this is you in plan A, in this square. This is plan B. Oh.
What if this
So
does
now
not
you-
work?
Mm.
Then plan B, no.
So define. So the first step before anybody else in the world believes it is you have to believe it. So law 24, you must make pressure your privilege because there is a difference. The pressure we have, again, pressure is a privilege. It only comes to those that earn it.
Oh,
Wow.
yes, this is good one.
Correct.
Wow.
Okay?
This is the
And this
best
is
one.
something that you must give to your people when it's their time.
Privilege, pressure.
Pressure and privilege, because again, you have to compare the type of pressure we have. There is different kinds of pressure. Pressure that if you will not make this happen, someone will take away my whole house. That's a different type of pressure. That's not privilege already. That's a problem. So now, what we have right now and what we are discussing is voluntary, meaningful, high in autonomy kind of pressure. Now, this is the what happens in our body. Okay? So, again, can you remove pressure?
No.
No. Okay? But you can change your relationship with pressure. View pressure as beneficial. If this will happen to me, this is what I will earn. Okay? So you have to see it. You have to be aware that you cannot deny that there is pressure. Ay, hindi. I'm not pressured. I'm not pressured. Accept it. You're pressured. So the moment you accept or you become aware that this is what's happening, this is pressure, in our brain, immediately what is the moment we see pressure, you're being pressured, oh, what is the number, etc., etc. The one that's activated first is the amygdala here in our brain. It's responsible for emotions. That is your seat of emotions. So everything else, that's the one that's firing up. Okay? But the moment that you try now telling, what if we do this one? How about this one? So you start from simply giving them pressure, you put just a small leading point. The next part that will be fired up is your prefrontal cortex, responsible for thinking. So basically the thinking point, that is your logical thinking already. That is being fired up. Now you have moved on from emotion. Emotion will give you only heart rate, you're sweating, suddenly you want to go to the CR, things like that. So, number 2, share it. Because it will,
Calm down.
the psychological impact will be lessened. Now, frame it. So, again, frame it. I'm having this pressure because this is something that matters. I'm having this pressure because I care. I'm having this pressure because this person cares for me. Now, use it. So, every time, it can simply be, the moment you get a pressure, Gilbert, we need a WHO person. How could this use, again, the moment it's activated, emotion, oh my God, WHO. Ayan. So, next, how could this experience, how will this help? The moment you start thinking, iba na yun, it's the different part of your brain that's fighting. Now you moved away from emotion. So now you start thinking. Okay? So that's what happens. Naturally, what happens with us. I'm just saying. Okay? And number 25, the law of negative manifestation. This is also very much important. According to this CEO, and again, we have to believe him. My God, 27 years old, 40 companies. You have to believe. Okay? So, every time they have a new idea, they simply ask, they gather the people, why will this idea fail? So now you start thinking, why will we not be able to enlist our products in the hospital, in this hospital? Now one of your person may say, ma'am, maybe if I will not do weekly follow-ups. Ma'am, it may be if I will not meet doctor this one. So now it starts coming from the people. Ma'am, it will not happen if we will not do this one. Now it's coming from them. What they have to do to succeed. So ma'am, it's also important in finance. Why do you think we're still stuck? So now you shift the questions from saying, from ordering people, because again, it's just coming from you. What if they have other ideas? So you start asking them from the point of failure. Because now you know, if this happens, we will fail. So what we will do, we will not make this happen. Okay, so you start from point of failure. So it's negative manifestation. Again, it's just an exercise. It's not a hub. It's not like a personality. Just an exercise, a small exercise. Why do you think this will fail? So again, you have to do this with your people, not only you. Okay. So discipline equation, value of the goal plus the reward, then the superpower of small wins. That's it, na sir.
Good luck.
Okay.
Monthly share.
Any questions, guys?